let's go into the Blues squad. We've got a fair few players in and out. So the big ones in, obviously Bodie Barrett back from Japan. Che Clark, I think, is a big in, the loose forward coming across from Sevens.
Yep.
And then I guess the other one for me is the name that we raised in our new hot shit is Peyton Spencer. I'm not sure he's going to get a lot of time, but really excited to see him if he does get a bit of a go.
Just chuck him straight in, mate. Stephen Perra franchise who, mate? Payne Spencer, straight at 15. No, okay, I'm
Don't
joking.
talk
I'll
about
never say that.
franchise.
Cut that from the record. I never said that. No.
Players out. Vikenna's gone the hooker to the Highlanders. Caleb Tangatau also to the Highlanders. Akira Ioane, your boy, is gone to Japan, so I'm not sure how you're going to recover from there. And Lucas Cashmore also gone down to the Hurricanes. Bryce Heem gone, who has been, an absolute workhorse for them in the midfield for the last couple of years, and Cade Banks also down to the Canes as well, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
really, they've just lost a lot of players to other New Zealand franchises, I guess, because of the fact that they had such a settled team and there wasn't a lot of opportunity for the fringe players.
and that's what happens to Auckland, right? Is that's where all the people live, and then they want to go, they spread out everywhere else. So it's yeah, certainly. Let's get into what we think the best starting 15 is.
Before we do, this is mainly for the people on YouTube. Nelson's made up the images. I love this photo of Kurt Eklund. Nelson's decided to use a pantsless photo of Eklund for the image, and I just don't know why he's gone that way, but it's a great photo. I do love it.
Usually what you do is you go with the biggest star or the biggest new name or something like that. But
maybe he is the biggest star, Craigs. Maybe that's what he's trying to show you without pants.
That's true. He saw a bucket hat pantsless photo of Kurt Eklund and went, "That's it. That's the one." So, no, very good. Yeah, we had Harry had before up the blue squads up on the screen, and now we've got Nelson, Mai, and Harry's best starting 15 lineups. So look, why don't I take you through mine to begin with, and then Harry, you can tell us where you differ.
I reckon go the positions, and then that way we can discuss Nelson's as well, rather than going 1 to 15 multiple times.
Good idea. Okay, we'll do how we did last year. So in the front row, I think we've all got exactly the same starting and bench. We do. Okay, really boring. So we've all gone for Offa Tuangafasi, Ricky Riccatelli, and Angus Tarbow, your starting front row, and on the bench, the pictured man, Kurt Eklund. And oh no, we haven't all gone the same. We've gone. So I've gone Jordan Lay and Marcel Renata, and you guys have both gone Josh Fusutua as your reserve loose head.
It just seemed like Fusutua kind of usurped him in the back end of the season, so that's the only reason I've gone that way. But I think they'll both get time.
I agree. I think so for sure. Do you want to? How about I just take us through the forwards and then you can take us through the backs, Harry? We'll do that. So for locks, we haven't also.
Nelson, this is criminal from you and I here.
He's done us here, but so we've all said obviously the captain Patrick Tuipulotu will be starting, and then Harry and I have said Sam Darry we thought would be the other starting lock, but of course Sam Darry has got injured, is now gone for the season, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely is.
And so we now would have said what Nelson's just stitched us up, put in for on his own, which is Lachlan McWannell, who is the clear next choice, I think, for starting at lock. Harry, you'd agree on that?
I think so. I mean, he's the guy that has had potential for so many years, so I expect it to be him. I hope it's him. I think Josh Beery's gotten a fair bit of time for the Blues as well, so he's an option, and Cameron Suafoa is the other option. But I might go Beery then as my next ranked lock, and then you got Cameron Suafoa as your ability to kind of cover lock and six. Whether they both play or Suafoa's on the bench covering all positions, it's hard to say.
Yeah, so if I did, I mean, I don't know if it matters or not, but I think in the trials he'd been playing a bit of lock as well. So
right. Well, probably for that reason, to be honest, like they are a little thin there.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I'm lagging a little bit here, my internet, but it's all right. If you still got me, Harry, we're good.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, cool. The back row. So Harry and I have gone for Anton Segner at 6. Sorry, Nelson and Harry have gone for Anton Segner at 6. I've gone for Cam Suafoa. We've all gone for Dalton Papali'i and Hoskins Sotutu. And then on the bench, so I had Anton Segner on the bench and Harry and Nelson had Suafoa on the bench. So, yeah, I just like Suafoa. I don't know.
But we're missing the player that we put you onto before the new Hot Chip podcast that you said was certainly going to take the Akira's jersey as well, right?
Look, by the end of the season, Shay Clark, it's but starting the season, let's be realistic. It's probably going to be Segner, but I want it to be Suafoa.
I just think they have to change this around a bit, right? Like I think I've got Adrian Choate on my bench, and he's more or less a 7 sub for me. Like, and Dalton can play 80. So Segner will probably get the most time at 6. I think Cameron Suafoa's got a really good opportunity to get some big minutes and really put himself forward, because I think if he's fit and firing at 100% healthy again and he's overcome his other health issues, then there's no doubt that he has the ability to start at 6 for them. But Choate is definitely a specialist 7, so really the makeup of the bench will determine how often he's there. I think Shay Clark will get some chances, and from all accounts, he's a beast, he's an animal. So I really hope that we do see a lot of him, because I think in terms of the explosive power game that the Blues like to play, Shay Clark's the best fit for their bench, and I reckon that they struggled a little bit against the Hurricanes in that kind of element as well. So there's a few alarm bells early for the Blues if they're going to try and go back to back, that they're going to need to find a way to replace Akira's power.
Yep, couldn't agree more. And the second that Shay Clark makes the bench, I'll be picking him up in my fantasy team. So you heard it here first. But yeah. All right, Harry, you want to take us through the backs?
Yeah, I love that we've all got Finlay Christie and Beauden Barrett. And without talking to you, I can guarantee that none of us want it to be Finlay Christie.
We all want Funaki.
Everyone's Talfa Funaki, but you've got Sam Knock on your bench, whereas we've got Funaki on our bench. What's that about?
Yeah, that's an oversight. That's what that's going to be about, because I definitely want Funaki on my bench.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so cool.
But Finlay Christie, I mean, it's really hard to bet against the guy, right? Like, he has been there for so long. Obviously very serviceable, gives a good pass out, and has got a much better support and running game over the last few years as well. But I just think Funaki's exciting when he's got the ball. He's the bigger attacking threat.
100%. Yeah.
At inside and outside centre, you and I have gone Harry Plummer, Rico Ioane, which is completely against what we just said at the start of the pod. Nelson's gone AJ Lamb with Rico. We've both got Lamb on our bench, and I guess it just shows you that we just really are split. We don't know which way it's going to go. We've already discussed that enough, though, so we won't go into it any deeper. I would also, as I said, love to see some of the young guys get an opportunity. And then on the bench, we've got Nelson hasn't even gone a reserve centre or anyone that can cover. He's just gone Cole Forbes to partner Zahn Sullivan, and then hoping that they'll just work it out. So, which I find a bit odd. I feel like he's a bit lopsided there. The outside backs, we've got Caleb Clark, all of us on the left, Mark Talea, all of us on the right. Stephen Perra-Franchise at fullback, I think, is pretty well established at this point, and then you, myself, and Nelson Zahn Sullivan as the reserve to kind of cover that, I guess, 10-15 axes.
Yeah, I think Nelson's just hoping that Caleb Clark can play in the centres if they lose a centre or something. Who knows? But
yeah.
Cool. All right.
So just to clarify, you think if they can only put one on the bench out of Zahn Sullivan and Cole Forbes, that Sullivan might have his nose in front? Because obviously Cole Forbes had a pretty big year last year.
Yeah, he did. He certainly did. I do. I just think, look, there's a very different way that Sullivan and Perra-Franchise play. So it's a big difference you're having at fullback. And then they just have such flexibility with the likes of, their centres can move. I think you have to have a centre on the bench, and then their centres can move out to the outside backs really easily. So Zahn Sullivan, for mine, is someone you bring on when you need to really just get a lot of territory, because he's got a huge boot. And just change up the way you're playing a little bit. So, that's why I picked Zahn.
I went Zahn purely because I really like him. We've had so much hype around him for so many years. But my gut actually says that if you have both Perra-Franchise and Bodie in the starting 15, you probably don't need Zahn on your bench. Like, Cole Forbes is a different kind of player. And if you take Beauden or Perra-Franchise off, you can just put the other one to cover that other role. Like, you're never short. Whereas Cole Forbes is the attacking outside back that gives you the ability to kind of break the game open a little bit. So again, I think they've got options in terms of how they roll that out. But I think there's a lot of depth there, obviously.
Yep, 100%. All right, injuries. We covered it basically at the moment, unless there's anyone else, Harry. Sam Darry, I'm very unlucky for him. He recently capped All Black last year. He has sustained a shoulder injury at the end of Jan, and he's going to undergo surgery and be out for 5 months. Stocks that are rising, we've just been talking about them, Antod Segner and Cam Suafoa, both basically seeing Akira take off. Both of them are vying, for that number 6 jersey. And as we talked about, maybe Shay Clark will get in the runnings for that, but they're the front runners. And stocks that are falling, Harry Plummer. I feel like we say stocks that are falling Harry Plummer every year, is what it feels like. It's just
but this year it'll actually happen.
That's it. So yeah, he's almost going to become like the Chris Whitaker of the club of the Blues.
Well, he's leaving at the end of the year, so he won't because of that. But yeah, I mean, Bodie's back. What do you do, mate? They might shift him to 12, and then he might play all year. Like you said, he is a real leader in that side, but I'm just not sure that they give him that he gives the punch that they came to rely on AJ Lamb for last year, and particularly with him out as well. I think a player like Lamb becomes even more important.
Yep. All right. Development from last year and predicted rank, Harry. What do we think? Where are the Blues? So the Blues top of the table last year. Are they going back to back?
No.
All right. And where are they going to end up then?
I think they'll be second. I think that they haven't lost much, but they've lost enough not to win the competition. Second or third. I've got the Chiefs above them. Spoiler. And I think that there's enough opportunity there, potentially, that the Brums or the Reds could get over the top of them. I'd still have the Blues as favourite over those two teams, but I just think there's a little bit less depth in their second row. There's not the same depth in their back row with Akira gone. Their back line's outrageous, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's missing a couple of little pieces, whereas I'm not sure it was missing any last year. So going to be a gun side. You've just added Bodie back to the championship winning team, but yeah, for me, I'm going to get it back to back.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to agree with you, second or third. I wanted to try and lock in maybe second. I don't think they're going to win it again. And I was just thinking about how we're going to watch our Australian conference rankings just drop down to, we rank them all like they were going to be in the top 6. We're going to watch them get pushed down over the course of this pod.
That's only because of recency bias, though.
That's it. Only because of that. Yeah, I agree. It's still an absolutely cracking side, and they totally could go back to back. But as we'll get into with some other exciting teams, I think we will see them end up second or third. So.